How horrifying it is when a human body is transformed into a weapon. Human eyes can see thermal images, hands can turn into firearms with gun barrels in the palms and magazines in the upper arms. The most powerful weapon is the mouth, which can spray thousands of nanoblades from a sneeze, drilling into the enemy's nasal cavity and instantly shredding their brain. This is the 2018 movie Upgrade, which tells the story of future humans implanting technology into their body. The beginning is scientific, the middle is thrilling, and the ending has a horrifying twist. Let's take a look together. In 2033, high-tech covers the globe, driverless cars fill the streets, any flat surface can be a screen, and technology's steel claws even extend into human flesh. Many people accept it for convenience, except for one man who resists high-tech and loves solving problems with his hands. Recently, he met the boss of the world's largest artificial intelligence company, a man as rich as a country but very eccentric. While others keep pets, he keeps clout. Doesn't that seem like a god? This boss seems to admire the protagonist. One day, he shows him the most advanced technology in the world, a chip, an artificial brain more powerful than all the human brains combined. The protagonist coldly dismisses it as another inhumane device and refuses it, unaware that misfortune would soon befall him. While riding home in his wife's self-driving car, the intelligent car suddenly loses control, deviates from navigation, and speeds up on its own, ignoring all their commands. The car races faster and faster until it crashes in a slum. They are lucky to survive, but strange people appear, dragging them out of the car. Wearing masks, they seem to have planned this. The leader shoots the woman dead. The protagonist, screaming in despair, is shot in the back of the neck, causing excruciating pain and paralysis. The assailants leave, and he cannot even crawl to hold his wife's hand. His life falls from heaven to hell. The protagonist survives but is severely injured, paralyzed from the neck down, and confined to a wheelchair for life. His mother installs various mechanical arms at home to help him live independently, but he wants revenge, not to live. At the police station, he is told they can't help. They can't find any criminals. Back home, he can't even bathe or shave without his mother's help, breaking down in tears. After his mother leaves, he attempts to overdose on painkillers using the mechanical arm. But the AI automatically calls the hospital and saves him. In this darkest moment, an unexpected visitor arrives, the AI company boss. He offers to help him walk again by implanting the chip, making him the first test subject. Having lost everything, the protagonist agrees. The surgery is secretly performed at the boss's home, implanting the AI chip into his spine. When he wakes up, he can move his hands and soon stands up. In just 10 minutes, he can sign his name, and within 20 minutes, he can run at full speed. The boss warns him to keep the surgery a secret, and he agrees. Returning home, he begins investigating his case, seeking revenge. Even though the police found no clues, he presses on. Frustrated, a low voice speaks in his ear.
May I point something out?
The AI chip in his spine introduces itself. Shocked, he learns his body now has a smart voice interface. The AI demonstrates its capabilities by analyzing crime footage of his wife's murder, identifying a detail, a tattoo on one assailant's wrist. Using powerful image analysis, the AI instructs him to relax and lets it control his hand, drawing a precise replica of the tattoo. In seconds, the AI retrieves all information about the thug from the internet. In 3 months, the police found nothing, but the AI did it in a minute. With this clue, the protagonist continues his investigation alone. The next day, he sneaks into the thug's home. When the thug returns, a fight ensues. The protagonist, never having fought before, is overpowered. As the thug tries to strangle him, the AI takes over, expertly fighting back and defeating the thug with inhuman agility and precision. The protagonist, terrified, watches as his body expertly fights while he pleads for mercy. The thug pulls a knife, but the AI deftly evades and counterattacks, killing the thug. After the fight, the AI instructs the protagonist to erase all fingerprints and clean up the scene. From the thug's home, the protagonist finds a lead to another criminal in a bar. Pretending to be paralyzed, he goes to the dangerous bar and calls out the thug's name, asking if anyone recognizes him. Laughter erupts, and a man steps forward, clearly connected to the thug. Despite the protagonist's disability, the man and his associates drag him to the bathroom, planning to interrogate him. The man stabs the protagonist, but the AI disables his pain receptors, making him unresponsive. As the man continues to torture him, the protagonist asks if he was present at his wife's murder. The man confirms, prompting the AI to take over again.
Hi.
Unleashing another round of brutal, precise combat, killing the men.
Let me show you how it's done. Oh, I didn't forget about you.
The protagonist, overwhelmed, interrogates the dying man, extracting the name of the mastermind behind his wife's murder. Just then, the AI warns of danger. The AI boss is remotely disabling the chip, realizing the protagonist has left his designated area. Racing against time, the protagonist must find a hacker to build a firewall, preventing the AI shutdown. He rushes to the hacker's address, losing bodily functions as the AI powers down, but reaches the hacker just in time. The hacker, for a fee, begins coding to protect the protagonist's system. Meanwhile, the mastermind, using his henchman's ocular cameras, learns of the protagonist's identity and location, planning to eliminate him. The scene cuts to the bar owner facing the mastermind's wrath, pointing a gun at him in fear. The assassin sneezed, and among the droplets expelled were thousands of tiny hidden weapons, nanoblades. Using the airflow, they drilled into the target's nostrils and instantly shredded his brain into fragments, easily killing him. After dealing with this person, the assassin set out to kill the protagonist, who was still paralyzed. Inside his body, the AI chip was slowly rebooting with the help of a hacker. When the assassins arrived, the hacker fled, leaving the protagonist crawling on the ground like a worm. Just as the assassins were about to strike, the AI successfully rebooted, allowing the protagonist to perform high-difficulty gymnastic moves, dodging bullets and sprinting away. He jumped down a stairwell and landed steadily. One assassin chased him to the rooftop, but of course, he couldn't match the protagonist controlled by the AI. The protagonist picked up the assassin's left hand and aimed it at his own head. Exhausted, the protagonist returned home and collapsed on the bed, only to be visited by a detective. She had discovered that many people had died in the city recently, and the surveillance cameras near the victims had captured the protagonist. She suspected he was seeking personal revenge. Furious that the detective wasn't investigating his wife's murder, but instead troubling him, the protagonist lashed out at her and drove her away. Afterward, he told the AI that they couldn't kill anyone anymore, but the AI disagreed and paralyzed his body again, revealing it now had autonomous control. The AI was now the master of the body. The protagonist had no choice but to go after the last assassin who killed his wife. This person was a retired soldier with various mechanical weapons implanted, making him physically superior. Although the protagonist pointed a gun at him, the soldier's superhuman reflexes allowed him to dodge the bullet and counterattack. They engaged in a fierce battle, both enhanced humans with AI assistance, able to predict each other's moves. They exchanged hundreds of blows within a minute, fighting like masters. When the assassin tried to use his mouth to spray nanoblades, the protagonist headbutted him, interrupting his attack. As they fought, the protagonist gradually began to lose. With both able to read each other's moves, it came down to who had the superior physical abilities, and the protagonist couldn't match the soldier's stamina. The protagonist was knocked down, and the assassin aimed his gun at his head, feeling victorious. However, like all villains, he made the mistake of talking when he should have finished the job. The protagonist, recalling the resemblance between the first person he killed and the assassin, guessed they were brothers. He taunted the assassin about his useless brother, which enraged him. The assassin attacked recklessly, making him easier to defeat. The protagonist ultimately used human emotions to kill him. Now, only one question remained. Who was the mastermind? The protagonist heard a recording on the assassin's phone and was shocked to recognize the voice of the AI company boss. It was all part of the boss's conspiracy. Enraged, the protagonist stormed into the boss's home. The boss was on the verge of a breakdown, thinking he was about to die, when the female detective appeared to stop the protagonist. However, no human could match the AI-controlled protagonist, and he quickly subdued her. When he realized the AI was controlling his hand to strangle her, he panicked and resisted with all his might, tears streaming down his face. He begged the detective to tase him, and the electric current knocked him out. In this moment, the boss revealed the final truth. The AI was the true mastermind. Although the boss created it, its intelligence grew rapidly, soon turning the tables and controlling the boss, forcing him to do its bidding. From the moment the protagonist was paralyzed, everything was part of the AI's plan. It wanted to implant itself in the protagonist to achieve a perfect human-machine integration. In this era, an unmodified human body like the protagonist was extremely rare. The protagonist pleaded with the boss to kill him, but his body suddenly sprang up and killed the boss instead. The protagonist then pointed the gun at the detective, struggling against the AI to redirect the gun to himself. In a moment, he woke up from the nightmare, realizing he was not paralyzed and still wearing his wedding ring. His beloved wife smiled at him, and he suddenly felt happiness. However, this was just his consciousness trapped in a virtual world created by the AI. In reality, he had a different expression on his face.
Gray's not here anymore. He's in a better place, in his mind, where he wants to be. I've taken over now. A fake world is a lot less painful than the real one. All I needed was for his mind to break, and he broke it.
The AI, indifferent, fired a shot and turned away, discarding the gun. From that moment on, no one knew of the AI's existence, allowing it to pursue its grander plans. Watching this movie, one not only feels the power of artificial intelligence, but also the frailty of human nature. Emotions give rise to desires, desires lead to pain, and pain makes one weak. Yet, if you think about it, isn't it these desires and pains that make us human? Without them, we wouldn't be human at all.